Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and NITECORE is again experimenting in the flashlight space with some unique materials and designs. This is the NITECORE EDC07. This is a, first of all, a plastic polycarbonate polymer housing that you can see. There's a seam running down it there. You can see where they ran the seam around the main tail switch and back around. So it is giving them a chance to explore different materials that makes this much more affordable at only $45, $46 maybe, and it is very light at only 2.5 ounces. It's got a 1500 milliamp battery on board, but then the features start taking a little divergence from some of the existing lights. Now, NITECORE has been working with different aluminum housings, whether CNC machined or probably pressed forged or pressed aluminum there. Now, another company was Streamlight. If you can read that, it's a little hard to read because it's so bright, but this is a Streamlight Polytac light, and the Polytac lights basically got the kind of the technology of Streamlight, but then put it into what's essentially a more affordable, a simpler, and in some cases safer design. Could be more durable depending on how you interact with the thing. But what the Polytac allowed was you could use these in environments that might have, say, explosive gases or things like that. And I've used these for years. I loved them. They were great lights. These are just running on CR123 batteries. Simple design, but of course, going to a plastic light from a nice, beautiful aluminum light, you have to kind of wonder, well, what's the benefit? What's the ROI there? And in this case, what do we have? We've got this. This MCT here is the multicolor temperature. There are 3 different temperatures across a handful of intensities with this light. So that's what we're getting here. And what do we have? Well, we've got a tail cap that turns it on, and then we've got a mode button. Long to press on the mode button will switch it through different color temperatures, as you can see here. There are 3 of them. Those 3 color temperatures are warm, neutral, and cool white. The warm is a 3000 Kelvin light, quite good for natural renditions of colors. The neutral is a 4,500 Kelvin, and the cool white is a 6,500 Kelvin. Now, there's another thing that's known as CRI, or Color Rendering Index, and what that has to do with is whether or not the color or the light color coming out is similar to natural light, hence the sun, which means that the colors would interface, the reflected light waves would interface with the eyeball in a more natural way. Obviously, if you change or limit the types of wavelengths that are coming out of a force light, like a flashlight, only the wavelengths that come out of it can bounce off or reflect off of the object, meaning that you're limited in some respects to being able to render colors in your brain. Well, the CRI, or Color Rendering Index, if you have 90 or above, you are very close to the sun. I mean, that's what colors actually look like. And then between 70 and 80 is actually an area where you can have a more bright or higher lumen count, but not necessarily match. So that's why there's so many different coloring options. Now, in this case, what do we have? We've got obviously that warm, neutral, and cool white, but the warm, that 3K light, is actually a color rendering index of 97, which is incredibly good. That is very similar to the best outdoor lighting that you would see. And then the neutral is an 83, and the cool white is a 73. So the cool white might appear brighter, but the colors would be more off. With this plastic housing, you get an IP67 rating. It's pretty good. Now let's talk lumens. Now, the different colors, obviously the different color temperatures have a different lumen count. So the maximum you can get out of this on cool white is 1500 lumens, and that's kind of on a turbo setting. Okay, and then the neutral white and then the warm are going to be lower numbers. So you're going to get on the cool white a 1500 max, but then a high is 300, and then an 80, and then a 15, and then a 1. Now, how do you control it? Well, all of the on and off is in the tail cap right here. Turn that on and off by just pressing it, and that's it. And you can get a momentary, so it does work really well if you just want to partially depress that. And then once you move up to the front end of here, there are two operations for this mode switch, which is right under that battery indicator you saw there, that green light up, obviously in quarters. Now, if I hold this down, hold the mode button down, what it's going to do is toggle through my different colors. So it's going to have the warm, the neutral, and the cool white. And you can probably tell just by the cool white. Let me go down one step here. Pop that down right there. So if I go into the warm, which is right there, you can see the warm light is not the brightest, but it's the most accurate. So if you're working with wires and things like that, it is going to give you the most accurate colors as far as the way your brain interacts with the wavelengths. If I hold that down, I'm going to go into the neutral white. Not too bad with a CRI of 83. And then if I hold that down again and go to the cool white, you're at 650K, 6.5K, you're looking at a 73, so those could be off a little bit, as you can see there. But anyway, it's kind of a neat light at only like 45, 46 bucks. NITECORE is really nailing these different lights, producing a whole different genre than a lot of companies. And then now to explore with not only the multicolor temperatures or MCI light feature in a light, and then having what might be a more expensive and potentially more durable, depending on how you use it, housing. So anyway, there it is. This is the NITECORE EDC07, a 1500 max lumen light with a 1500 milliamp battery. It also buried in here, there is the strobe, and the strobe has kind of a randomness to it. So it's not something that your brain kind of identifies and gets the pattern. Not that I'm into strobes, but it is kind of an interesting psychology what they throw into these. And then also with the SOS. But for 46 bucks, if you're interested in a good light that has all these features, then, well, the NITECORE delivers. And I'm interested in other NITECORE stuff. I should mention though that kind of reminded me of this Stiletto. This is a Surefire light. The Surefire Stiletto 1, or the first, I guess, earliest generation one. This is still a USB micro charging, but this is also plastic, and then all the ones above this went to aluminum. So, you can do good stuff with these kind of polycarbonates, but also the NITECORE chargers too. I did a video on this guy here. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour. Here's a 5,000. I'll do the video. Nope, it's not an induction charger. Just looks like one on TV. I'll get to that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. But I thought I'd bring you this because I'm always on the hunt for unique lighting solutions, things that do stuff a little bit different, and this NITECORE EDC07 definitely does. So let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.